and Calder Park in Victoria for the final and deciding round. For the first time, the opening round of the series was at Surfers Paradise, which had staged the final round of the title since 1981. The Surfers Paradise International Raceway is just 5 kilometres from the beach and has been the scene of some sensational racing in the Swann series over the years. The 3.2 kilometre circuit is also a favourite of Rob McElnay, and he was hoping to start his quest for that elusive title in the best way possible, on a circuit that would suit his Grand Prix machine perfectly.
Rob McElnay fastest at 1:13.2. The rear tyre and wheel was then taken from his bike and put on Kevin McGee's YZR500 Yamaha, and Kevin, in his first competitive ride on the bike, went out and equalled the time of the man who came fifth in this year's World Championship. Donny Osborne takes over the Mal Campbell bike that holds the lap record at 1:12.6. And then Mike Dowson will line up on the production YZR1000 Yamaha with slick tyres fitted. Hamish McNichol on a TZ750 that Dowson rode last year. Simon Buckmaster, the visiting 25-year-old Englishman, on a 1985 model Honda V3, 2 years younger than the 83 model that Donny Osborne's riding. David Horton, about a 1981 model RGB Suzuki. Tony Armstrong from Queensland. Craig Trinder on the Superbike Suzuki, and then Brad Hayward also on a Superbike.
Bike ready for a start.
They get away superbly.
McElnay and McGee right back in the pack.
It is
Hamish McNichol on the TZ750 Yamaha takes the lead.
A bike with very similar power to the YZR500s, but weighs 50% more. It's 170 odd kilos, very nearly the weight of a production Suzuki today.
12 laps of the Surfers Paradise International Raceway to be covered in this first of 2 heats this afternoon. As you can see, the bright day glow orange of the Marlboro Yamahas midfield as Hamish McNichol holds out Donny Osborne on bike 3. Osborne looks down the inside, but McNichol's got the corner covered.
McNichol half an hour ago said, "I would hate the waiting. There's been a lunch break." And he said, "I don't like this, sitting about." Like Michael Dowson did last year on this bike, the Pitman's Yamaha, he's launched himself into the lead. McElnay's fourth.
McGee's third in front of him on the second of the Marlboro Yamaha bikes.
And Donny Osborne second. There he is.
And now you wait for the speed of the 500 Yamahas. They're bound to gobble up the 500 Honda in front, and they've already pulled out of the slipstream. The 2 Yamahas nose to tail.
McElnay takes it over, down, challenging McNichol on the inside, looks across at him, says it's my corner, and he slams through. Rob McElnay takes the lead in the Swann Insurance Series, lap 2.
So after one round, the predicted Yamaha benefit had eventuated, but was it to be a McElnay benefit as well? The Englishman took maximum points from Surfers with wins in both heats. Kevin McGee was still coming to grips with the bike, but had taken 2 comfortable second placings behind his Yamaha teammate. Donny Osborne was flying the Honda flag, albeit distantly, in third. Much to the delight of the Queensland fans, Mike Dowson had shown what he was capable of on the much less powerful production Yamaha to take all the 4th placing points and embarrass Simon Buckmaster on the Grand Prix bike. The second round of the series was at Oran Park, 50 kilometres southwest of Sydney, in the hills above the Camden Valley. A beautiful setting, but far from Rob McElnay's favourite Australian track. He'd crashed there in 1984, and the more twisty 2.62 kilometre circuit promised more for the other riders on less powerful bikes than the sweeping Surfers Paradise had offered. Peter Clifford takes us on an aerial lap of the track.
The 2.62 kilometre Oran Park circuit features a very, very long main straight and a superb variety of corners that really test the rider's skill. On the 500cc Marlboro Yamaha, you'll be doing 270 kilometres an hour down here before sitting up, braking and changing back 3 gears for this very, very tricky left-hander at the end that requires that you brake going through the corner, because you've got to slow the bike down, change back another gear now down to 2nd gear for that very, very tight corner at the end before a burst of acceleration underneath the bridge, briefly up into 3rd gear before heavy braking again, kneeling down on the front tyre, using all the front tyre's grip into the 2nd gear, very, very tight corner, then a tricky left fleck out of there, back against once more to a tight second gear corner. This is where McGee is actually using first gear on his 500 Yamaha, but McElnay uses second and accelerates very, very hard up into third gear over the bridge before sweeping right into this tricky, bumpy corner. Out of there, accelerating all the time into that sweeping downhill right-hander, then into the left-hander, still in third gear. Another left-hander coming up. It's a really very, very fast sweeping corner, this. Still in third gear, accelerating hard out of here, up into fourth gear now before the very important right-left flick over the Honda corner. The bike goes light over here, the front of the track drops away as you accelerate before braking very, very hard and back into second gear for the last very tight left-hander. The drive out of here, all important for that fast speed down the very, very long Oran Park straight.
That's how it's done from a few hundred feet. Let's see how the riders did it in round 2, heat 1 of the 1986 Swann Series.
And in fact, on the basis of the points scored in the first round, this is the way they will grid up. But in fact, it's the practice times yesterday not reflected in the grid positions, where Kevin McGee was fastest by half a second, but McElnay 2 wins last weekend, Kevin McGee 2 seconds, Donny Osborne 2 thirds, Dykel Dowson 2 fourths, Buckmaster 2 fifths.
The field now on the grid for the start of the Swann Insurance International Series, round 2, leg 1 at Oran Park. In starter's hands. Good start, and Donny Osborne away. Kevin McGee right at the back of the field.
And both the Marlboro Yamahas badly positioned, but there's McElnay surging down the inside to third place. It's Donny Osborne, though, that leads.
Wayne Clark in second place. Dowson up to fourth.
Sumskus there on 39 at the back of the end of the field. There's McGee, slotted the latter part of the first half of the pack.
Clark looks for a way on the inside of Osborne, can't find it. McElnay hangs back, not wanting to get involved in their dice this early. There's 12 laps, 30 kilometres of Oran Park to cover.
3 bikes between McGee and McElnay up in front in third place. And McGee just has to hope that McElnay gets held up sufficiently by the leading pair for him to be able to get close to him before he starts to brake.
And Osborne did a very impressive 1 minute 14 in a practice session this morning. Said he was very, very pleased with that. Said it was no real effort for him to do it, and he's showing that now.
Great stuff by Donny Osborne leading the pack. Wayne Clark on the 780 Superbike closing on him. McGee's made some places. He's up to 5th.
But I think you'll see it all come to naught now as we get onto the straight and McElnay unleashes the awesome power of the 500 Yamaha.
Through Clark goes McGee. Will he take Osborne now? Nope, Osborne's got the guns on him. And down comes McGee behind Clark, trying desperately to cling to Rob McElnay in front of him. McElnay down the inside of Osborne and takes over the lead in the Swann Insurance Series as McGee slams down behind him.
Donny Osborne was prepared to lean on Rob McElnay there, but McElnay just forced his way through, and that was very intelligent. He's going to make good ground here on Kevin McGee. This is critical. McGee could be held up for quite a long while with Osborne riding as hard and as determinedly as he is. 12-lap race, 31.5 kilometres. This is lap 2.
McGee,
well done, Kevin McGee. Gee, was he cranked over there too as he made ground on the first part of the S as the right-hander there on McElnay.
This is now the most crucial segment of the race because McGee, for the very first time in this series, is right up behind McElnay. He has to learn a little more from McElnay about breaking deep into the corners if he's going to beat him, and he's now in the position to do so, right in the slipstream.
Well, that has been a faster lap by Kevin McGee than by Rob McElnay. Lap 2.
Different gearing on these two motorcycles. McGee, in fact, has gone for a gearbox that makes him use first gear on 2 occasions, whereas McElnay has decided to stay with a 2nd through 6th gearbox only. And you can see the difference in the way that McGee was lifting his wheels down the straight.
You can see the difference in lines as well, and look at Kevin McGee, confident there, but really on a bad entry to the corner.
But he can punch out of here, Will, because he's got the first gear, then up into 2nd, whereas McElnay was in 2nd all the way.
So he wants to set it up straight and punch it early. rather than a classical sweeping line on that corner. But another first gear corner there for McGee.
But it's in fact McElnay is getting away there because he's got the smoother drive in second and the 500 Yamaha just a bit too lively, I think, in first.
Down into Yamaha corner, aptly named.
And the spot where McGee on the previous lap made a lot of ground on McElnay. Still, there is really only about 0.3 of a second between them. McGee closes under brakes. He really does make some ground. Now he has to get the power on early for the straight. McElnay puts on a show as he comes out of that corner in third gear. In second at least, up into third, right through to sixth gear, back to fifth here, settle it down, back to second.
And there was McGee getting a little bit loose under brakes there, the bike waving around more than McElnay's, but he was closing on McElnay at the time. He said that was one of the areas that he really had to close up, improve his style, braking deep into that left-hander, and he appears to be doing it.
McElnay's gone too wide there, he loses a little bit of ground. McElnay out after $50,000 bonus for winning all 6 rounds. Nobody's ever done it.
And again, the better drive, McElnay gets up over the bridge as the McGee's machine in first gear twitches a little wildly.
And you, well, look at the way through the S's. McGee is closed.
And this time, as they come over the Honda dogleg and down into Castrol corner, let's see if McGee can do anything to McElnay. No, he can't. McElnay deep under brakes.
I don't think there's any point in McGee leading the race at this point, because all he's going to do is show McElnay what he's capable of. He really would be better to sit behind the more experienced man and just watch what he's doing.
Gaps out to 0.89 of a second between Rob McElnay and Kevin McGee. 2 laps remaining.
A very, very intelligent race from McElnay. He's just opened up a little bit of advantage. That's all he needs to make it impossible for McGee to make a last lap effort. And of course, Rob Mack now cannot afford to make a mistake and let McGee get a second chance.
Just 1 second between the flying pair.
But the speed at which McGee is learning, absolutely incredible. We're only halfway through the season. He locks up the back wheel a little bit there, chasing M here, McElnay. But he's learning so fast, and we're only halfway through the series.
Yeah, it is sensational riding. There's no question of that. To look at it another way, in his second ride on this bike, Rob McElnay, he was at the Italian Grand Prix earlier this year at Monza. He misread a signal on the last lap and tossed the bike away. It wasn't entirely his fault. Kevin McGee in the same situation, but with much less experience on Grand Prix bikes, almost no experience on working out gear ratios and all the available suspension settings that are available. He's attuned to production bikes and hotted versions of them, super bikes.
Rob Mack used every inch of the road and a little bit more there. He crossed the white line almost onto the grass.
And that's about a 12.7 again for Rob McElnay, and he certainly has, under great pressure now, consolidated against Kevin McGee. But boy, is there any disgrace in the way this man's ridden bike number 2. Absolutely superb riding. His wife Julie in the pits, expecting their child in about February, said, yes, I enjoy the racing, but I'm always pleased when the day's over, especially on this bike. It's so fast.
And if McGee wanted a second chance, he may be provided with it as Rob Mack closes up behind a tail ender. And this could balk him. No, he's got a really good drive over the bridge, passes the slower man.
And now it could be Jeff Paul who in fact holds up Kevin McGee as they come down into the old S's. McGee jumped through.
And Kevin McGee again, I think he's done the right thing here, slipping back, being prepared to lose that little bit of ground. He's got the bike upright, he's done sensational times, and he's showing he's got an enormous amount of ability to control the bike, but also headiness in the way that he runs his race.
Up to the checkered flag comes Rob McElnay to win round 2, leg 1 of the Swann Insurance International Series at Oran Park, with Kevin McGee in second position.
third place, it should be Donny Osborne. And to give you an idea of how fast these boys have been travelling, it is a long way yet before third place gets to the finishing line. And
there goes Donny Osborne.
So Donny Osborne third on bike number 3. The race time for Rob McElnay was 14 minutes, 44.34 seconds, 127.1 kilometres an hour, confirming that result. Sensational riding from the two Marlboro Yamaha riders on the YZR500s, and very good by Donny Osborne, as McElnay says, oh dear, the pit of my stomach, and McGee says, terrific stuff.
So, 3 wins in a row to McElnay. He was halfway to his first Swann Series title, and if he could win all 6 heats, he would be the first man to claim the $50,000 bonus for the clean sweep. McGee had shown in the first Oran Park heat that he was really starting to feel at home on the Grand Prix Yamaha, and that if McElnay was going to win all 6, he couldn't rely on the complicity of his teammate. Donny Osborne was again third and learning just how fast the Yamahas were. Michael Dowson on the production bike was still showing Simon Buckmaster the way, and Wayne Clark has swapped spots on the points table with David Horton. Had the first heat shown Kevin McGee a chink in his more experienced teammate's Oran Park armour? Round 2, heat 2 would give us the answer.
First onto the grid is McGee.
And of course we saw McGee in the first leg today not get a very good start at all. McElnay was a little bit better off the line, but the fastest man off the line was Osborne on the 3-cylinder Honda.
Look at them from right to left. It's McElnay, McGee, Osborne on 3, Dowson 1, it's Buckmaster.
Buckmaster balks again.
So does Robert Holden from the second row. And a great start again by Donny Osborne. McGee's badly away, McElnay's away better. Donny Osborne punches superbly, and so too
it's Wayne Clark who takes the lead. Wayne Clark on the big 4-stroke Suzuki, but Osborne up the inside, McElnay up the inside. No, McElnay back in third place as it's Osborne leads Clark and McElnay.
Dowson in ahead of his teammate Kevin McGee. McGee ahead of him now, slotted down underneath him. Buckmaster's 4th, McGee is 5th. Dowson, very kind there to McGee, lets him through. Clark gets his leathers comfortable on 61 in third place.
Up over the bridge, McElnay goes for the lead. Challenged across the top of the bridge.
Good riding from Osborne, doesn't let McElnay get away from him at all. But this time, Rob Mack is through on the Yamaha.
And Osborne really hung in there and made it so difficult for Rob.
McGee's up to third. And he's 0.4 of a second back. It's Osborne's third. Wayne Clark 4th. I reckon Kevin McGee would be glad to be clear of him. That bunch of 4 making it up front.
Standing left for Rob McElnay at 1 minute 19.93 seconds as Donny Osborne is dealt with by Kevin McGee, who takes over second position.
He has to get from 5th gear down to 2nd there in a big rush after the kink. Would like to do 2 gears before the kink, but doesn't think he has time. Oh, now 1st gear for number 2. Second gear.
Very lively on the brakes there, Will, wasn't it? Very lively, obviously braking very, very hard.
Wayne Clark really clinging to the back of Donny Osborne.
Sure is, very determined, going very hard on a superbike against the Grand Prix Honda.
1.65 seconds between the two Marlboro Yamahas, then 1.85 of a second. Back to this dice for third position as Clark goes down the inside. Osborne cuts him off. McElnay, the leader. Behind him, Kevin McGee. On bike 2 there. And then behind him, Donny Osborne and Wayne Clark on the Team Fagerstrom Suzuki 980. The bike sponsored by a solicitor. Its team manager is a barrister, and it's got its own acupuncturist, but it's also got a very good rider. Wollongong's second favourite son, Wayne Clark, on the saddle.
So we'll see if Clark can lay down the law on Osborne now as he tucks in behind.
Little brief from Peter Clifford as they come down into the S's. This battle for third and fourth place. Osborne starting to consolidate, and he knows that that's what should happen, and he should be able to make it happen, and he is. It's 1.6 seconds between first place McElnay, second place McGee. Can the man on number 2 do anything about it?
Clark down the inside this time. Osborne can't block him out.
Boy, Osborne was pretty determined there. Not afraid to hang on as they complete 3. Go through on lap 4. That's quarter way through the 12-lapper.
The lighter Grand Prix two-stroke, much better handling under the brakes. Clark has to take the wider line, tries to get the drive under the bridge. But the purpose-built number 3 ex-Malcolm Campbell Honda, an all-round better machine than the modified road bike number 61. And up front, McElnay, McGee at it again. McGee just a little bit distant, and then Osborne here, third place, but only just. That's the battle for third place. And you can see Donny Osborne's Honda getting some ground on him through the kink, sits it up straight there, down about 3 gears, and heads towards the Yokohama Bridge. Ducks underneath it, then has to brake very hard indeed. Deceptive corner, this one, and it comes back about 270 degrees. Clark goes wide.
Way offline, yes. Sucked in really well by Donny Osborne, and that's cost him a second or so. As the 2 race leaders get within 0.8 of a second of each other now, under that 0.79.
I make it closer to 0.5. Kevin McGee is making ground on Rob McElnay. He's back with him in sensational, desperate, hard riding, and he's out after him again as they go on to lap 8. It just completed 8. They're now on lap 9. And now, what can Kevin McGee do? After watching the gap go out to well over a second, and look at him there, beautifully tidy, power on earlier, making ground on the race leader.
And that, I think, was the danger spot for Rob McElnay. We saw McGee was only using half the circuit, and he could certainly go under McElnay there, I think, on the next lap. He was a little bit closer.
McGee been riding a conservative race, conserving his tyre. Now he's ready for the go.
I reckon of all things that might impress Kel Carruthers about Kevin McGee has been the way that lead went out and he's come back at Rob McElnay.
Well, you saw how in the first event today, McGee actually lost tyre condition in the last couple of laps. Now he's got tyre condition and he's having his go right at the end of the race.
Look at them, out to within centimetres of the white line there. McGee beautifully on line, absolutely looking at the rear tyre of the bike in front as they fly for the straight.
1 minute 12.8 seconds as they go across the start-finish line. Not as fast as their lap record this morning, but still under Wayne Gardner's time of last year.
Gaining on
to the outside of Horton.
McGee gambled there, and it might have worked, but it didn't. So he's got to come back now at McElnay. At least he made a decision. He got out of the way. Have a look at this fast section of circuit where they peel off before they can see the corner, and then they make it almost one run as they dip down now into the right-hander of the S's. Quickly snap over left to the left-hander, and then up to Yamaha corner. A very quick one indeed, all the way here in third gear. Now they're up into fourth gear.
No, back off.
$50,000 starting to glimmer in Rob McElnay's eyes, but all he's worried about at the moment is bike number 2, his alleged teammate, the newcomer, the rookie, on a 140-plus horsepower Yamaha. Confidently, he monowheels as he comes onto the straight, and they reach now for 270 or more kilometres an hour.
Now this is the second last lap, so McGee really has got to try his plan here. He's not got to execute it, but he's got to try it. He mustn't yet rob. Oh, and he gets out of control there. He's got to try and see where he's going to pass McElnay. I think he might try it there. He can't get close enough this time, but he's really just got to plan things out. Rob went very wide just there. He's got to plan things out for the last lap.
First gear, second gear, third gear up onto the bridge for McGee. Second, third gear only for McElnay. One less change. 18 for McGee round the lap. That's 4 at 1 every 4 seconds. Third gear now for the S's.
And McGee significantly quicker through the S's than McElnay.
And this could be the point at which he tries it on the last lap. Looks like he does it now.
He's done it. He's done it. Kevin McGee's in the lead. He's taken the lead in the Swann Insurance race, and he's ahead of Rob McElnay. The crowd goes wild. The local hero has done it. He's overtaken Rob McElnay.
And if he'd have done it any other way, he'd have done it too soon. But he pushed Robert wide, and he's got himself a break.
This is hero stuff. Kevin McGee's out on the final lap. He's tucked down and hard, and he might beat Rob McElnay in this fourth heat of the Swann Insurance Series. And what can Rob McElnay do? Where can he do it to beat Kevin McGee on McGee's only fourth race on the bike?
This certainly wasn't it in Rob McElnay's script, that's for sure. There goes Kevin McGee, covers his corner into the S's.
And it will give McGee, if he wins this second heat, it'll give him the day overall, because victory in the second heat takes precedence. Look at him getting the power on early. And how good is he as he controls the slides and the bucking from the YZR?
Does McElnay have an answer? It doesn't look like he does.
He does not. Kevin McGee shouldered him and forced him and slotted underneath him as they went in fourth gear at well over 200 kilometres an hour for the Honda flip-flop. And this sensational young man from Horsham in Victoria, 24 years old, has 2 corners. 1 corner now to victory over the man that's done the World Championships all this year. They've been on identical bikes. It's been a sensational ride by Kevin McGee. It is brilliant stuff. And victory to him, and the local boys love him.
Fantastic, Kevin McGee. Beautifully done.
From appearing a McElnay walkover, the series had come alive. With 1 round to go, McElnay held a 6-point advantage, the closest margin going into the final round in the title's history. 4 third finishes in the heats had extended Donny Osborne's lead to 10 points over Michael Dowson, with a further 10 to Buckmaster, with Wayne Clark holding a 3-point advantage in 6th over Craig Trinder. So, having alleviated Rob McElnay of any tax problems arising from the $50,000 clean sweep bonus, Kevin McGee headed for his home state of Victoria, with the chance of winning the title if he could win both heats at Calder Park. The circuit to the northwest of the city of Melbourne has been extended to 2.4 kilometres over the last few years and has had a hill built into the back straight. The oval Thunderdome at the eastern end of the track is expected to be ready for racing within a year. Having raced on the track earlier in the day, Peter Clifford now does it in the ABC chopper.
I'm just doing about 160 kilometres an hour on the little Kawasaki BR250 road bike on the main straight here. But if you're riding a 500cc Grand Prix Yamaha, you'll be hitting about 275 kilometres an hour, flat out in 6th gear, before you reach 200 metres before the corner, hit the brakes hard, the front wheel buries its nose up under the fairing, and you sweep round the tight 180-degree right-hander at the end of the circuit, and a quick burst of acceleration in 2nd gear, up to this very, very tricky right and left, tight into the right, accelerate through the left, up over the hill, the front wheel pours the air, you try and hold it down as you accelerate in 3rd, 4th, 5th gear, flat out through the very, very fast right, left flick, pulling hard on the bars to make the bike go one way then the other, using every inch of road, white line to white line, accelerating tucked down behind the fairing, and still in 5th gear before you brake again once more at about 130 metres before the corner. Tight in once more into the first right-hander, accelerate through the left, a burst of acceleration still once more in 2nd gear, up to the last right-hander, braking once more, tight in a late apex so that you can drive early through the opening part of the corner, changing to 3rd as you get onto the main straight, up to 4th, 5th, 6th past the start and finish, and once more heading for that 275 kilometres an hour.
So the scene was set for the first heat of the 3rd and final round, where Rob McElnay could either wrap it up or Kevin McGee could take it down to the wire. Just one ingredient had been missing from the racing: rain. Melbourne came to the party and the track was wet for the first time in the series in round 3, heat 1.
And this is the way they'll form up on the grid, with McElnay leading the series, taking pole position. Kevin McGee 6 points behind him. It's 57 versus 51 among those two men on the 140 plus horsepower YZR Grand Prix Yamahas. Donny Osborne, the V3 Honda, about 125 points. Michael Dowson on a production bike that should have the lovely mid-range torque that might help him a little bit in this race. And Buckmaster, the Englishman, on a V3 similar to Osborne's.
Ready for a start in the Swann Insurance Series, round 3, Calder Park.
McGee's been a bad starter. And it's Dowson, fairly expectedly, Tony Armstrong.
And McGee blows the start. He's last away, very slow from the start. There goes McGee on bike 2. That is a tragedy for Kevin McGee because he's got to wake his way right through the entire field.
McElnay is the other end of the field. He's first now. There he goes. So Kevin McGee's given himself a gigantic handicap. It's Dowson second on the FZR1000. Tony Paul third on 82.
But you saw McElnay slide there, showing how slippery these conditions are. As the bike came into the power band, the back end slipped out and he fought to control it.
At least at this stage, McGee is watching what happens to other bikes, whereas McElnay, but on the other hand, he's having to be offline sometimes when he goes past the field. Off the dryer line. Front of the field, McElnay. 3 heat wins in a second.
Oh, down goes Dowson. Dowson out of the race on the FZR1000 Yamaha. He's all right.
McElnay being very, very cautious, and rightfully so.
He rode through the Belgian Grand Prix in the rain. He rode, I thought, very well in the British Grand Prix in the rain.
And the unfortunate thing for Dowson was that he's using production tyres. He hasn't got the full wet weather tyres like McElnay and the rest of the racers, so it didn't provide him with enough grip, and it looks as though he lost the front end, braking deep into the corner.
6.46 as we see Dowson's fall again. 6.4 seconds from McElnay, the leader, back to Kevin McGee. Second is Donny Osborne. Third is Tony Armstrong on 82. And McElnay building up a nice lead. There you see McGee on the tail end, about 5th place.
And McGee has an incredibly difficult job to do because he can't go diving past people on the brakes. And McElnay gets a real slide on there. It looks as though both wheels slid.
Lap time on McElnay, 1 minute 10 seconds. That's 13 seconds outside.
And McElnay down. Down goes McElnay. The back end came round. Surely he's going to pick the bike up. It can't have been badly damaged. The rest of the field are coming through. And he's trying to push start it. Will it start?
McGee's by. McGee's gone by. He's just passed Buckmaster on the back straight. He was 8.86 seconds behind him. McGee now has seen McElnay. He's in 4th place. He should easily pick up 3rd down the straight this time. Cool it, Kevin McGee.
And the gap is 2.4 seconds. Kevin McGee back to Rob McElnay. Here goes McElnay's fall.
The back end just comes round far too far. The bike goes over lock and throws him over the high side. Nothing Rob could do. It was far too sudden. And McGee nearly goes down. McGee ran wide, almost in identical place to McElnay. McGee goes wide but recovers, but that's lost him some ground. Closed right up now the first 3.
And while we look at the 2 Marlboro Yamahas, what about the man on 27? What sort of a job is he doing? Horton on the Warren Taylor Racing 500 Suzuki.
1.4 seconds the gap. Kevin McGee back to Rob McElnay.
Donny Osborne's gone missing. Very, very difficult conditions.
The race leader.
Paddling round the back, pussyfooting, feeling his way, then just feeding the throttle open, and McElnay coming up onto him.
And in just a couple of places, there's a dry line forming, but nothing you could count on.
And there's some puddles there too. You can see what's happening. McElnay is catching McGee.
Now it becomes a tactical problem for McElnay. What does he do? Does he pass McGee if he gets close enough, or does he just stay behind and watch what the local man's doing? A great recovery from McElnay, picked the bike up, Obviously not badly damaged, it's possible, and another slide, but no real worry that time. It's possible, of course, the handlebars or the footrests are bent, but it doesn't seem to be slowing him.
End of the straight, hard braking. The bike's probably, even in these wet conditions, still doing upwards of 220, 230 kilometres an hour. Very difficult to get your power to the ground.
Big puddle on the left there. McGee skirts around the outside of it. Is therefore on the wet line on the exit up over the hill where they were monowheeling in the dry yesterday. Covers himself on the inside there for this fast kick.
And we saw McElnay clip a curb then. He just touched the white line or the curb itself, and that set the bike into a nasty slide momentarily.
Still lapping at 1 minute 10 seconds, 13 seconds off the dry weather time.
And averaging 120 odd kilometres an hour.
It looks very much as though McElnay's just biding his time at the moment, or is he preparing to strike?
McGee struggles to get his power down.
In this 15 lapper, they've completed 6. They're out on their 7th. Horton. Good scrap here. Tony Armstrong back there, in behind now. Jim Judd on 11.
McGee still holds the lead tenuously from Rob McElnay.
A 10.07 that time as the track gets a little bit drier, a little bit faster, bringing the average up to 123.5 kilometres now. McElnay looking for the lead. Positioning there, but a little bit far behind him, a different line.
Here he comes and takes it over. So now it's up to Kevin McGee to see if he can exert pressure on Rob McElnay.
I think he'll do what he was going to do anyway in the dry. He'll sit in behind McElnay, or try and sit in behind him.
I think that to have passed McGee, McElnay must feel that he can go quite a lot quicker and get away. Otherwise, he wouldn't have blown his chance like this.
McGee has always been faster coming onto the straight, but that, of course, was in the dry weather where he could put all his power down, sweeping out through that third gear sweeper onto the main straight. Here, the experience of McElnay, having ridden these Yamaha YZR500s in the wet, is really showing. And there's the dice for third place between Robert Holden on bike 99, the Ducati, and in front of him, bike 27, David Horton's 500 Suzuki, as Holden comes side by side with Horton down the straight, can't do it. This is the bike on 99 that Kevin McGee rode last year. Robert Holden, the New Zealander, doing a great job on this against the Grand Prix machine as McElnay leads McGee through. And then the long gap back to these two people. David Horton running 9th in the series on 9 points. And Robert Holden lying in 7th position on 10 points.
The lap average speed for McElnay rises to 128 kilometres an hour as he does a 68-second lap. And McGee had lost a couple more tenths during the tail end of that last lap, but on this one, the 10th lap, he's made a little bit of ground again, I think. He hasn't given it away. Oh, boy, he had the bike working through there, and there again. Oh, the third place dice.
And we saw exactly what happens in wet weather riding as Horton went offline. One dry line, but he was a fraction too fast going in, drifted onto the wet and nearly lost it. That gave
Robert
Holden the advantage to dive through, and he took full use of it.
There's just 0.63 of a second between these two YZR Grand Prix Yamahas. As Kevin McGee reins back in, Rob McElnay uses his head. He said yesterday, I reckon it might be a race for the last few laps. The only way I'll beat him is to lurk in behind him, put the pressure on him, either hope he can make a mistake or that I can leap out and attack him in the final few. He said the final few laps could be very hard indeed.
And I think McGee's got to come up with a different passing philosophy to that which he used at Oran Park. There is only really one dry line round most of the circuit, so just moving in on McElnay and trying to push him out the way, I don't see how that can work here unless it be very, very dangerous.
That point right there coming onto the straight is where McGee yesterday had the power on McElnay. He entered that corner much quicker.
Now, 105.8
Here he
at
comes.
131.4 kilometres an hour.
No,
McGee hits the lead. This is lap 13. 15 of them. He's got 2.5 laps now to try and move away from Robert McElnay.
Now it's McElnay's chance to turn on the pressure.
Really squeezing a throttle open gradually on the big, powerful machine.
And McElnay comes back at McGee. McGee always down the inside here. McElnay up the outside. No chance of a passing manoeuvre this time.
McGee turns in beautifully from the tidal line. Powers onto the straight. McElnay now seeing if he can pull back the deficit on the straight. But McGee's got him covered.
65.8 seconds a lap, 131.5 kilometres an hour. 2 laps remain.
And if anything, McGee opening out a slight lead here. He's a few yards further ahead than he was the previous lap. And using all the road and a little bit more, he ran wide, very wide. He's all over the place. He probably missed the gear.
There.
He almost certainly missed the gear when he got out of control, put him way out of the power band, and it really has dropped him a long way back now. It's a lot of work for McGee to do. And McElnay using all the road on the white line. The back end slid round, and now heavy on the brakes. It's almost out of control.
1.92 seconds the gap between them. McElnay just at a 1-minute 5-second lap.
The advantage here is swung back and forth, and there's only 1 lap to go. And McElnay has the advantage, but it doesn't mean the race is over in it by any means.
The gap is 2 seconds. Massive gap in these conditions as they do a 65.5 second lap, averaging 132 kilometres an hour.
But I think the important thing is that Rob doesn't know he's 2 seconds in front. It's not really likely that he would have got a pit signal to that effect. And he's pressing on, not looking about how far he is in front, and could always make a mistake.
Hill's probably given him the cool it sign. It's been a gutsy ride from both of them. From this man, picking the bike up from that crash.
And McElnay's definitely still pressing on. The back wheel coming off the ground, even using wet weather tyres.
And McElnay's making ground. It's 2.1 seconds now.
Only 1 more corner to negotiate.
2.6. That man on 2 knows he can do nothing now. He really did lose his chance there. The end of the 13th lap. So it's victory to Rob McElnay, 2nd place to Kevin McGee, both of them Marlboro YZR500 Yamahas.
So the plucky Englishman had shown us what he's made of, having fallen heavily, remounted, climbed his way through the field and clinched victory. With 1 race to go in the Swann Series for 1986, Rob McElnay's first title was almost as good as his. With a 9-point lead over Kevin McGee, virtually all he had to do to clinch it was stay up in the last race. He could afford to finish no worse than 4th to take it out.
Ready for a start in the final 15 laps of the Swann Insurance Series 1986, Calder Park Raceway.
The 9th Swann Insurance Series breaks away as they go into the final heat, and it's Dowson on the production bike, Donny Osborne on the V3 Honda, who's into 2nd place, probably temporarily when the Yamaha Grand Prix bikes wind up. Donny Osborne leads then, and then Kevin McGee.
Through.
But Dowson up the inside, incredible late braking manoeuvre from Dowson there. Obviously feels he's got nothing to lose. The production races are over, and he's in 3rd place as McGee leads. Dowson up into 2nd, passing Osborne on the brakes.
Rob McElnay's in 4th, as you can well see, looking for a way past Osborne now. Will Kevin McGee crack for it and really go for broke and see if he can beat McElnay? No stooging, no mucking around, leading from the front. We'll wait and see. Into 3rd place, blasts McElnay past Donny Osborne. So it's Marlboro bikes 1, 2 and 3. Grand Prix production, then Grand Prix, then Honda 4th.
Kevin McGee in the lead. That's where he's got to be if he's any chance at all of winning the Swann Insurance Series. Rob McElnay must finish worse than 4th place. Currently, he's there in 3rd position.
It's Donny Osborne 4th, Buckmasters 5th.
An incredible first lap from Dowson to hold second, but now McElnay takes over. The superior speed of the Grand Prix machine telling down the straight.
And they averaged 133 kilometres an hour for a standing lap of 64.8 seconds. Lap records Freddie Merkel at 59.9, and that will be absolutely destroyed.
And a better ride now from Simon Buckmaster up into 5th place, but this is Michael Dowson, number 1 in 3rd, as McGee wheelies over the hill in the lead.
Looking confident on a circuit he doesn't like very much. He says it's all stop corners, slow corners. I like something flowing fast, a Grand Prix type track.
Only a second separates Kevin McGee from Rob McElnay.
Oh, back wheel up off the deck there as he stands it on its nose under front braking.
And as we see McGee, bit of shake there. McElnay could have paid him no finer compliment than when watching a replay of one of the earlier races said, he does ride well, doesn't he? He looks like Eddie.
Yesterday, about the fastest qualifying time was low 57s. McGee perhaps breaking 56s. He's already done a 57.1, his first flying lap. Kevin McGee, what a talent, Peter Clifford, he's showing in his quick adaptation to this bike, but intelligent too, looking after the bike, really getting it on that fine line of having a go, getting it on the limit but not crashing.
Yeah, beautiful riding, and Dowson still hard at it on the production bike.
1.15 seconds separate Kevin McGee from Rob McElnay.
And the production bike, which is having the wheels ridden off it by Dowson's 3.95 seconds behind this pair.
And with the stop-go corners here, Rob McElnay has had a little bit of a problem with the carburation of his Yamaha. His doesn't seem to be working quite as well as McGee's.
Goodness me! Kevin McGee, I just can't believe how relaxed the guy is, how quickly he comes to grips. It was only 1 year ago that he got his first ride on one of those old TZ750s. He dumped it here at Calder, wasn't the slightest bit phased, on a bike that in 1978 was regarded as an incredible weapon. And here, 1 year later, he's riding the bike that won the World Championship. And he's putting it on the line everywhere. Apexes are right, he's braking it harder and harder, meeting by meeting. He's getting the power on pretty early. He's coming through some corners very fast and hard as Rob McElnay there tries a different tactic.
Warren Willing, the ace tuner for the Kevin McGee bike, has pulled a couple of demon tweaks, and one of them is that they found a set of brake pads that really worked. He'd used them yesterday once only, then put them in for this race this afternoon. And certainly Kevin McGee is making good use of them.
But while McGee was lifting the back wheel, I think that Rob McElnay was closing on him under the brakes there. And of course, if you can keep both wheels on the ground braking hard, you've got more rubber on the road.
Indeed.
New lap record for Kevin McGee.
And here goes McElnay, makes his move up the inside. Tries to outbrake McGee just where he thought he might do it. He was faster through the right and left, and there's a tail ender in the way. That's going to upset things.
That's Jeff Paul.
And McElnay goes inside, McGee goes inside. Both of them put offline. McElnay has trouble getting out onto the straight, we know that. McGee has the better drive, McElnay comes wide. McGee tucks into the slipstream.
Now let's see the braking at the end of the main straight. See if McGee comes out again or whether he stays there and consolidates.
You just don't know how fast they arrive down there, and there's nowhere to go, Peter Clifford, at the end of that straight. There's what, about 15 metres of dirt before a solid wall.
And has Rob McElnay made his move too soon? He's now giving McGee the chance to chase.
And as the lead changes, so does the dice for 4th position, and Simon Buckmaster overtakes Donny Osborne.
And Robert Holden's 5th.
Michael Dowson, of course, is in 3rd position.
McElnay trying to make a break, trying to put some daylight between him and his arch rival.
The official lap record has fallen to Kevin McGee with 56.92 seconds. Rob McElnay 56.96, only 0.04 of a second less.
And we do it injustice to Michael Dowson, who's 3rd, Buckmaster's 4th, Donny Osborne's 5th, and Robert Holden's 6th. As they do low 57s again. They're averaging not much short of 100 miles an hour. At more than 150 kilometres an hour. There's the three Yamahas, the three Marlboro team bikes, and the lead one.
This is where
Master and pupil
seems to get away a little bit, but perhaps McGee's learning, because this time McGee hangs right in his slipstream, and it's McGee's turn to look at an outbraking manoeuvre.
This is lap 12, finished 11.
Problem for Donny Osborne is now he gives way to Robert Holden on the Ducati.
And is McElnay looking at a bit of deja vu here? He led at this point in the race at Oran Park, and McGee made that brilliant last lap manoeuvre.
McGee's tucked down harder and tighter on the bike, and if anything, I think made ground down the straight. And then suddenly the limit again, and McGee's bike mono wheels at the front, i.e. standing on the front wheel. Punch up, hook right, late, because it's this left-hander that's the important one. Gun it up over here. McGee hangs back a touch, mono-wheeling again.
And a new lap record for McGee once again, 56.8 seconds. He's just carving tenths of a second off the lap record, lap by lap.
He took 1.2 seconds off Gardner's lap record at Oran Park last weekend. Laid that down to a sensational time, 1:12.1.
This time a wider entry line, trying to make it up on the big drive through, and this could well be McGee's challenge down the end of the straight on this occasion, because he certainly got through that corner better.
McGee goes down the outside. McElnay takes a longer way around, and McGee's there earlier, close to him.
Both riders lifting the back wheel, but McGee gets his higher. And there's a rider down at the end of the straight, just caught a glimpse of him there, picking the bike up.
McGee now, a lap and a half.
Buckmaster is off.
Well, the only time he got going against the local opposition on a similar bike, he's dropped it. Bad luck for him. Hasn't been a good Swann Series campaign. Coming up here to lap Jim Judd, South Aussie. 500
There's Buckmaster
Yamaha
on the fence. Back to the leaders. Rob McElnay in the lead. Behind him, Kevin McGee. Coming up to take the blue flag to indicate 1 lap to go, and it's still Rob McElnay in the lead. Still Kevin McGee looking for any way through. This is his last chance at the end of the main straight. Will he take it? No, he can't. Rob McElnay's got him hemmed in.
But has Rob Mack gone in there too hard? No, he hasn't. A beautiful line from both men.
McGee didn't look interested there, or perhaps he had nothing to produce. He certainly wasn't trying to get past McElnay, or as I say, wasn't in a position to get past him. Here McElnay is going for it. He really is on song, and is making life very difficult for Kevin McGee as they go off up the back straight. And if it's it to be anywhere, it's got to be up here for Kevin McGee.
McGee tries up the
He's
inside.
done it.
No,
He's done it.
He's done it, but has he
He'll go wide, he'll go wide. No, he
hung
doesn't.
it.
He's helped in. Go, Kevin McGee, go. 1 corner to go.
A corner and a drag race. Kevin McGee won the heat at Oran Park last year. Wayne Gardner beaten in 2 heats by Malcolm Campbell, and Kevin McGee lines up to do it again, and he's done it.
And McElnay's conceded it as he came onto the main straight. He knew he didn't have the drive, and Rob McElnay conceded the win to Kevin McGee.
And it was, I reckon, pretty close to a lap record there for Kevin McGee.
But of course, the saving grace as far as McElnay goes is he did all that he had to do to take the Swann Insurance International Series. There really was no point in a fairing banging exercise at the last corner, but a great ride from both men. McGee's last lap effort once more proving tremendous, and there goes Dowson sliding the big 1000 Yamaha out of the last corner to take a very well deserved 3rd place.
And there it goes. 3rd place to Michael Dowson. So Yamaha's 1, 2, 3. Kevin McGee. I've done it for you fellas, he's saying to the crowd. Half a second gap between 1st and 2nd. And I reckon the last lap for Kevin McGee, here it is, confirmation, 56.57 for that man. 56.57 for Kevin McGee, a new lap record. He's got it at Oran Park, he's got it here at Calder Park. And his race average speed was 149.4 kilometres an hour, taking 14 minutes, 26.77 seconds for 15 laps, with Michael Dowson on the production Yamaha 1000 3rd.
The final points table saw Rob McElnay victorious by just 6 points. Even though McElnay had won 4 heats to Magee's 2, Kevin Magee won 2 of the 3 rounds, Magee's wins coming in the dominant second heat at Oran Park and Calder. Donny Osborne had a bad final round, but deservedly hung on to 3rd place in the series, which had been his all along. In fact, the first 4 places never changed. The series was the expected Yamaha benefit, but what racing the 2 YZR500 riders had given us. Rob McElnay had everything thrown at him by his young teammate and certainly earned his first Swann Series title at the 4th try. It was the popular Englishman's skill, courage and experience in the wet at Calder that ultimately told the story. McElnay has been riding in the World 500cc Championship for longer than Kevin Magee has been racing bikes, but after one meeting, one would have been excused for thinking the young Victorian had been born on the super-powerful Grand Prix machine. His performance more than vindicated the confidence shown in him, and he may well be the next Australian to follow in Wayne Gardner's footsteps and gain a factory ride in the World Championship.
At Oran Park tomorrow, the 2-day historic motorcycle racing will continue, with the proceeds going to the Autistic Children's Association. There'll be classic bikes dating back to 1960, tomorrow at Oran Park. Next on ABC, the Meldrum tapes featuring Genesis.